leverage the power of African consciousness to their own use and increase their prosperity and power thereby. The relationship then of the European man to the African man, to a good extent, is a relationship of Count Dracula to his victim. To suck the blood of African consciousness to maintain their own life. This is what it's about. Let's be a little more concrete. I see consciousness as being composed of at least three elements. Contents, what I call instrumentalities, and directional organizational factors. What do we mean here? Consciousness contains things: knowledge, perceived knowledge, beliefs, opinions, our conditioned emotions, our conditioned behavior, behavioral orientation, our perception of ourselves, our worldview. Consciousness also has in it our unconscious drives and motives. We are driven by things we're not even aware of. That's part of our consciousness and the moods we are in. Consciousness also contains what I call the methods of information processing. See, it's not enough just to have knowledge and facts and beliefs and have them exist in your mind. That's sort of a static type of thing. You also now must find some way of using the contents of your mind. And you put them to use by processing them through using the instrumentalities of reasoning and thinking. You think about what you know. You organize what you know to solve certain problems. You bring pieces of knowledge and information together and organize that knowledge and information in a way to solve a problem. You recall information. You act in terms of what you believe. You use logic, critical analysis, deductive reasoning, inductive reasoning. All of these are means by which we work on knowledge and information and work on our perception of the world as we see it. Analogical thinking, conceptual thinking. We look at events going on in the world and we abstract a rule. But every time this happens, that happens. And we can even put it in an equation of some kind. X plus Y leads to this, or X squared plus this, which can describe phenomena that occurs in the real world. It means we have abstracted from what we see in the world a rule, you see, and set of rules. We infer from what we see about things we do not see. We look at the implications of things. We use what? Intuition and so forth. All of these are the instrumentalities of consciousness, are the means by which consciousness operates on what it knows, what it remembers, what it perceives, what it even does not know, in order to achieve certain ends at certain points. The instrumentalities of consciousness express what we know and believe and so forth. So our personal skills, our intellectual skills, and academic skills are the means by which we use the knowledge and memory and all the other things we have. Our occupational skills, skills at learning and remembering. The other aspect of consciousness is what we call the directional aspect. It's not enough just to have the skills to process information, you see, and to organize it. You got to organize it for a reason, to achieve a particular point, to satisfy some value, some wish, or some need. You see, I was looking at a discussion here the other evening with a very esteemed public intellectual who apparently had the capacity to reason and think very well. He's been educated in philosophy. And who has apparently a good deal of knowledge. They were supposed to be talking about alternatives to black problems and black leadership. And I didn't see one black problem discussed at all during that little 2 hours. No issue confronting the black community was dealt with at all. Oh, but there was plenty of reasoning. There was plenty of knowledge being displayed there, and so forth. But nothing in the sense of applying it to the end of liberating black folk. Applying it to the end of gaining freedom and enhancing the quality of life of black folk. You see, so even though you may have the knowledge and the content, even though you may know black history, even though you may know African history, it's not quite enough yet. Even though you may have the logical skills, it's not quite enough yet. You have to value African people. You have to value African liberation. You have to value African people being empowered and free and self-sufficient and doing for self. That has to be a value, so that when you think and when you process what you know, using logic and abstraction and so forth, it will be processed under the direction of trying to achieve those values, so that you are thinking for a reason, not just to be thinking, not just to be displaying knowledge, but you're engaging in the process of the information to achieve a particular point. So therefore, our desires and our needs and our values and our interests and aspirations and ideals and sense of purpose places a whole direction and purpose on our consciousness, and it organizes our consciousness so that it motivates us to know what instruments we are to use and what knowledge we should use to achieve what end. Okay, hang in with me here. Don't go to sleep on me yet. Because now we get into the point of what we mean when we talk about the falsification of consciousness. Because I want you to see exactly how our consciousness is falsified, in what ways. Now you can see those three levels: content, instrumentality, the capacity to process information, to process the content of our minds, and what? Values. You see, when you decide, men, that you're going to get rid of the white man as a power in our lives, and that's a very valuable goal for you. You know, it's a very valuable goal. What you do usually when you say, this is my goal, you start then to run an assessment of your capabilities, don't you? How capable are we of achieving this goal? What kind of knowledge must we have to accomplish this goal? What kind of information must we gather and make a part of our minds as a store of our knowledge in order to accomplish this goal? This is our goal. We want to be free of being ruled by white men. Okay? Now once you kind of get that together, what kind of mental skills must be what? Developed in order for us to use this knowledge and information to accomplish this end? Do we think abstractly enough? Because these people are very abstract thinkers. Do we think analytically enough? Because their hallmark is analytical thinking, isn't it? Do we think conceptually enough? Because we got to do what? We got to outsmart them. We got to outthink them. You see? And when we look at ourselves and say, well, our thinking skills are not what they should be and not up to that task, then we recognize we got to go to thinking school. We got to go where? And learn and develop. See, that's what a value will do for you. It will say, look, if you want to get this, you better sharpen up this skill, you better develop that skill. Do we know how to sit down with other men for 2 or 3 hours or 4 or 5 hours and really think and plan together? Do we know how to stay focused on the subject matter so that we can get something done? Can we subdue our egos and so forth long enough to solve the kind of problem that we can do it, so we can get where we want to go? Then we got to learn it if we don't, you see. And we got to keep that goal upmost in mind so that it can always help us to get back on task. You see? But you see, if you have no goals other than going to work, eating something, drinking beer, getting sex, then no wonder you can't think. There's no need for thinking.